Out.
And incorporate.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can volunteer out. If you were playing a game of cards and you found the person on the other side of the table had an ace up his sleeve, would you want to continue to play with that gentleman?
No.
No. And likewise, if you sign a contract and you find the person that you signed a contract with is involved with fraud, at that moment you have the right and the responsibility to remove your name from every contract or everything that you've done with him. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how you can remove your signature off from every 1040 form that you've ever signed. And the way we do that is simply find a way that the IRS is involved with fraud. When I received my notice of levy, the fact that they did not include A on the back side means that the IRS was involved with fraud. This was my key to get out of the IRS. But what we need to do now is show you a way that everybody can get out from under the IRS. In other words, we have to find some form of fraud so that you have the right to remove your signature off from every 1040 form. So I'm going to present to you two ways that the IRS is involved with fraud. I'm going to present to you the law that never was. And in order to present to you the law that never was, I need to explain or introduce you to the authors. We have two authors here, Red Beckman, a Montana rancher, and Bill Benson. Red Beckman is part of a group of people known as the Montana Historians. The Montana Historians have been studying the Constitution of the United States for a long time. One day, they tried to defend a fellow rancher from the IRS, and they lost their court case because the judge indicated that all of their evidence was not certified copies. Although they felt it was legitimate, they still lost the court case. At that time, Bill Benson was in the courtroom, and when he was in the courtroom, he agreed that he would travel all over the United States to go to every one of the 48 states and go into the archives and find out if that particular state actually ratified the 16th Amendment. Now, for just a few minutes, let's identify the 16th Amendment. I have here the Constitution of the United States. Notice how big it is compared to the IRS. This is the way the government, or this is the most important document in the world at this time. And let's go to the 16th Amendment. And it says, we're talking about 32 words. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. That's the 16th Amendment. Now, Red Beckman was under the impression that the 16th Amendment never was ratified, but he had to prove it. He had to prove it in such a way that it had to be certified copies. So Bill Benson traveled all over the United States. He came back a year later with 16,000 copies, certified documentation as to whether or not the 16th Amendment has been ratified. So I'm going to submit to you, Bill, this book. And would you open up the book about halfway?
Are you saying that 16th Amendment can be in the Constitution as you just read it, even though not ratified?
The question has been asked, can the 16th Amendment be in the Constitution even if it wasn't ratified? Actually, we find that there's certain ways that the 16th Amendment has to be ratified. Let's go back, because our forefathers knew that the Constitution had to be rubber. It had to expand as people expanded, as ideas expanded. And we find in the Constitution there are certain things that have to happen in order for an amendment to be part of the Constitution.
But why is it even listed as an amendment if it's not ratified?
We're going to find that out. Okay? First of all, Congress, whenever 2/3 of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose an amendment to this Constitution. So the first thing that has to happen is that Congress has to propose an amendment. Then, after they propose the amendment, they have to make sure that it's accurate, word for word, and paragraph for paragraph, or punctuation mark for punctuation mark. And then, it shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of the Constitution when ratified by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states. All right. Can you tell me what state you're in?
Georgia.
Georgia. Did Georgia ratify the 16th Amendment?
Georgia Senate did not, in fact, SR number 23, and it did not ratify the proposed 16th Amendment.
Okay. Would you close the book and give the book to Dave? Dave, would you open the book? Tell me what state you're in.
Kansas.
Okay. Did Kansas ratify the 16th Amendment? Can you read something that Kansas did wrong in ratifying the 16th Amendment?
Several things. Number one, failure to concur in Congressional Joint Resolution number 40 as passed by Congress, and that SCR number 2 contains the following changes. A, the official preamble was discarded. B, states was changed to a common noun.
Is that enough? Continue.
Number 2, failure to follow the guidelines for return of a certified copy of the ratification action as contained in the Congressional Concurrent Resolution number 6 and as required by Section 205 of the revised statutes of 1878.
Okay, so did Kansas ratify the 16th Amendment?
No, it did not.
Okay, close the book. Give the book to Bill.
California.
Bill, would you open up the book? And what state are you in?
Beats the hell out of me. Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, all right. Did Wisconsin ratify the 16th Amendment?
The ratification of Wisconsin for the proposed 16th Amendment was defective for the following reasons. Failure to concur in United States Senate Joint Resolution number 40 as passed by Congress.
Okay, continue.
The preamble was modified.
Is that enough to cause it? I mean, the preamble was not modified. What else?
The word Senate was changed to a common noun.
Okay,
The word Congress was changed to a common noun.
all right.
Both instances of the word Constitution were changed to common nouns. The word states was changed to a common noun. The word namely and a comma were inserted behind the second instance, the word Constitution. The designation article.
Okay, did they ratify the 16th Amendment?
No.
If they made one change, they did not ratify the 16th Amendment. We could continue to do this over and over again, but it is a fact that there wasn't a single state of the 48 states that ratified the 16th Amendment in 1913. You see, Philander Knox at that time was the Secretary of State. He had the general counsel or an attorney, but they were working for Colonel House. If you remember, Woodrow Wilson was President of the United States at that time. Woodrow Wilson became President of the United States because the international bankers ran Taft and Roosevelt against each other of the Republican Party, split the Republican Party, and then financed Woodrow Wilson to come in as the Democrat at that time. But in order for him to be the president, he made a deal that instead of him functioning as president, he would have Colonel House. In fact, he has made several statements saying, if you heard it from Colonel House, it is as if I made the statement. So Colonel House had complete control of the White House. Colonel House was not working for the President of the United States. He was working for the international bankers. And Colonel House, from the international bankers, was told that he had to do two things during the time that Woodrow Wilson was President of the United States. Number one, to establish a central banking system. He did that. December 23rd, 1913,